Fred Whitaker will never forget the moment World War II reached Australia's doorstep. He was there when Japan attacked Darwin. The 97-year-old was just a teenager then, but he can still see the bombs. And this Remembrance Day, the veteran hopes we're all reminded of the horrors of war as conflict grows right across the globe.
Armistice Day is a remembrance of the most basic of human frailty, I suppose, hate.
11 a.m, 11th of the 11th, 1918, the guns fell silent.
That is a religious thing, I think, to me, fundamentally religious.
For 97-year-old World War II veteran Fred Whitaker, it's the most important day on the Australian calendar.
But it's died away to a great extent now. You don't hear mention of it all that much.
While commemorating the fallen, it reminds us of the horrors of war.
In your inner soul that you can see the evil, and thank God it's over. That's what it always was to me, always will be, I suppose. My father was in the First and the Second World War, and my older brother was in the army.
But the teenager followed his uncle into the Navy. Here's the able seaman and his mum at Sydney's Martin Place soon after he enlisted.
I didn't join up to win medals or anything like that. It was just what people did.
Fred remembers the day war arrived on Australia's shores. Japan's bombing raids on Darwin.
And the night I arrived in Darwin, there was a bombing raid. I barely got into my cot when the raid started. I can still see the bombs coming towards me.
Fred's first posting was to the air-sea rescue vessel HMAS Koongoora, escorting mine-laying Catalinas operating out of Truscott Air Base's West Bay in the Kimberleys. Today, Fred lives in the RSL Anzac village at Narrabeen on Sydney's northern beaches.
That's the earlier version of what I had.
He doesn't dwell on war, far from it. He says there's no glory in combat.
There's just as much ridiculous things goes on in war as goes on in life. It's not all heroes, by any means.
The Middle East conflict deeply concerns him.
The one going on at the moment is the most terrific, in my opinion, because surely to God, after 75 years in Palestine, they haven't worked this out.
Fred's life is a virtual library of significant moments in Australia's history. He witnessed the opening of the Sydney Harbour Bridge.
Well, anybody who was anybody there went to the opening of the bridge.
The next day, the 6-year-old was perched on his father's shoulders as they walked across the country's pride and joy.
It's probably the finest bridge ever built.
Made in Australia, by Australians, for Australia.
A mammoth structure for such a relatively small city and country.
91 years later, on most Fridays, you'll find Fred walking across the coat hanger.
It's been a big part of my life.
Like many of his vintage, he's not keen to relive bygone days. The city has changed so much when you look at that skyline, hasn't it?
It has, but it's changed for the better.
But you have to wonder what memories lie behind those wise eyes. They say there's a pot of gold at the end of every rainbow, and Fred's is at the end of his weekly trek.
It's the rocks. Now, the Rocks is the best place in the world to drink beer.
His favourite watering holes, the Glenmore and the Australian Heritage Hotels.
Two
Two schooners, no worries.
But drinking a cold ale out of glass just won't do for this old digger.
Does it taste better out of that?
Oh, always.
Out of the tin?
Always.
Really? Why? Why does it taste better out of that?
I don't know. I can't explain that.
Fred takes his old battered pewter mug everywhere.
It's probably killing me. You realise that?
What? The beer?
No, the pewter.
Why?
Oh, London to a brick. London to a brick. The medical profession tell her I'm killing myself.
After one, maybe two, he heads home.
Good luck.
Good luck to you, mate. And thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Another walk, a couple of bus rides, and he's back at the War Veterans Village. And it's here, in the quiet moments, he remembers.
The gun's falling silent.